YouTube. It is preparing the live stream. All righty, it looks like we are live. We are live here. Hey, can you hear me talking after I'm talking?
I could.
That was kind of weird. All right, well, we're going to make that be quiet because that's over on YouTube, which is always weird. All right, here we go. We are definitely live. I know this now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wonder Series. Have you ever wondered what life would be like if you looked at it from another perspective? What could you learn by opening your mind to other ideas and concepts? Who would you become if you welcomed the possibilities and embraced new opportunities? And then ultimately, how could that allow you to live healthy, happy, and fulfilled so you feel like you are flourishing in life, not floundering in life? Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am Denise Stegall. I am your host of the Wonder Series, where we offer you the opportunity each week to think outside the box and wonder how you can create the life you have always dreamed of, the life that you deserved. The Wonder Series is sponsored by livinghealthylist.com. Our weekly interviews feature world-class experts in various areas of health, wellness, personal development, and bringing a little bit more fun into life, all of whom inspire you and me with their insight and wisdom. Here you will receive tips and strategies, proven strategies that you can use right away. Get off the podcast and guess what? You can absolutely take those tips and apply them to life right then and there. We are here to excite, engage, educate, but most importantly, empower you to become the person you have always intended and create that healthy, happy, purpose-filled life you have always been dreaming of. A new episode of the Wonder Series is released every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe and give the Wonder Series a 5-star rating. And then while you're at it, please share with your friends too. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you again to the Wonder Series, where we want you to start wondering so you can start living. This month in May, we have been talking about nutrition and essentially resilience when it comes to nutrition and how that positively affects all the areas of your life. And so you're in for a treat today. My guest today is Dr. Malia Ray. Dr. Ray is an internal medicine and lifestyle medicine physician and behavior change expert. Several years ago, she was chronically exhausted and stressed, triggering a desire within her to learn how she can improve her own health via lifestyle changes and mindset shifts. Now her goal is to empower others, just like you and me, on their journey towards a future free of chronic disease and filled with energy, connection, and purpose. Hi, Dr. Ray. Malia, how are you today?
I'm good, Denise. How are you?
I'm good. It's a nice day to be around. Things are growing here, as you know, in Minnesota. It's a little gray, but all of the trees are blooming and it is just a lovely day. So do tell us, okay, so you're an internal medicine doctor and a lifestyle medicine physician. I would love to know how that happened and how you have married the two pieces.
Sure. So, actually right now I do practice internal medicine, and that wasn't always what I did. So I actually did my residency in internal medicine and pediatrics, and then I chose to specialize in pulmonary and critical care straight after that. So I did that fellowship, and then I actually practiced pulmonary critical care for a few years in Cincinnati. And then we moved up here to Rochester, Minnesota for my husband's position. He got offered a job at Mayo. And I worked at Mayo for a little bit and wasn't a great fit for me and how I like to practice. I'm more of a small hospital type of gal. And so I chose to leave, and I had already started to get interested in nutrition because when I was a pulmonary critical care physician, I was on call every third week. And so that was, with my pager for 7 days in a row, and frequently, especially in the wintertime, not getting much sleep on that week. So it was like, then I would take the next week to catch up. And then the next week you didn't want to do too much because you didn't want to get tired because you were on call the next week. And it was kind of this vicious cycle. Like, I loved what I did, but it was definitely exhausting. And so I was just kind of like, and being a doctor, you know that that's not good for your body. So I was like, what else can I do to try to maintain my health despite having this crazy schedule? And so I had started to learn about nutrition from that perspective, just so that I could try to do what I could to optimize my energy and my health during that crazy time. And so when I had this little break in time after I left Mayo, I just started to try to learn a little bit more about nutrition. And then I identified or discovered lifestyle medicine, which is its own, entity of focusing on nutrition and then physical activity and restorative sleep and stress management and social connection and avoiding risky substances. And so all those things, I began to appreciate how all those things tie together so much. It's hard just to focus on one without focusing on the other ones, because if the other ones aren't really like in balance or optimized, it can be hard to thrive in one of the other areas. So then I just became interested in learning about that. I do love to learn. I have a problem kind of.
I understand that.
But yeah, so then I went ahead and I went to a conference and I got certified in that. And actually, but right before I did that, I also got certified in health and wellness coaching, because not only, I believe, do I need to talk to people about nutrition and stuff, but I also need to actually help them implement it. And I think that's a big thing that we didn't necessarily learn enough in medical school. You learn a lot of the how-tos, but not like how to actually help people make that happen. So I think all of those together, like, really just made me want to help people, because I saw the deficit in that in medicine. A lot of times we're like, you need to go lose weight and you need to be more active, and let me see you back in 3 months after you've done all that stuff and see what progress you've made. And a lot of times they come back and it just didn't work. And so I was finally like, okay, this light bulb went off, and like, I can actually help people now. I feel like I have the tools to help them actually be successful in that.
It's so important. I mean, you mentioned a minute ago how, if one piece is, out of balance, it's hard to get the others. And it kind of made me think of the lifestyle wheel, where, we've all done those, where you kind of like from 1 to 10, where are you on the line from 1 to 10? And it's supposed to end up being a perfect circle, but of course, none of it, life is not that perfect circle. And I think with lifestyle medicine, it's interesting because they're 7 pieces. They're not like 10 or 12. Some of those lifestyle wheels get a little crazy. And I think with lifestyle medicine, it's important that, there are only 7 of them. And so many of them work together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, I live with a doctor. My husband's a medical doctor, and we talk about obesity and diabetes here quite a bit, because as a transplant surgeon, by the time they get to my husband, these are the things that have not worked. The go away and, lose weight and, exercise more. And so we know that there's this piece that's been missing. And it's really exciting that you fill that gap in 2 ways, though, which is really, I think, really important for people to understand, is the fact that you are a doctor and you understand that piece. But now, and now this piece, I didn't actually realize that you actually have, you're certified in health and wellness coaching, which really marries the marriage of those 2 is really a beautiful thing, because it always seems like not that they're fighting each other, but they don't understand one another. The medical community doesn't understand the wellness world.
Yes.
And by you being here and kind of tying them together, it's really inspirational that more people in the medical profession will understand the wellness world. And on the flip side too, the wellness world, I think, does need to understand medicine a little bit more as well. I find very often the medicine, no to medicine. And obviously both you and I know that medicine has its place.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as a physician, understanding the readiness to change, transferential model of like, not everybody that you see at that moment is ready to take action, and meeting that person where they are. So for me, that was kind of the game changer. When I practiced pulmonary care preventive wise, the main thing I did was smoking cessation. And, you know, you would get frustrated because you're telling the patients all the importance of stopping to smoke, and they come back and they hadn't done it, and they hadn't. And then of course, probably the patients are getting frustrated because you're just telling them you need to stop smoking and you're not helping them. And it's an addiction and it's hard. And then you just have two people who are frustrated at each other and not working together. And so now I go back and I think back and I just think, oh, you know, yeah, that person just wasn't at that spot right now. They needed to look at some more barriers, or, you know, what they could do to overcome that, or get some more support. And I think just now I know that if I had known at that time to take a couple more steps, I probably would have been able to help those people be a lot more successful.
Well, luckily you're there. You can do that now.
I know. Sorry that I wasn't there yet.
Exactly. It's a learning, I mean, everything is a learning process. You know, the patient was going through a learning process. You as a physician were going through a learning process, and, you know, it's a long life. There's always more to learn.
Yes, exactly.
So I want you to step back a little bit and talk a little bit more about lifestyle medicine. You know, you mentioned the 7 prongs. I don't know why I said prongs, but the 7 aspects. If you would just touch on them a little bit more and kind of tell us a little bit more about lifestyle medicine and what that really is.
Yeah, so it's still fairly new. I want to say it started in 2017, if I have that correct. But it basically is, it's really supposed to be chronic disease focused. So a little bit more on what we call the lifestyle medicine diseases, like, you know, obesity and high blood pressure and high cholesterol and type 2 diabetes. But I really think, like, sometimes I call it the lifestyle medicine approach, because I don't necessarily see you know, what I may see may not be all of those things, but I believe that you can take those pillars and apply them to a lot of different things. But basically, the nutrition component is really looking at encouraging a whole food, plant predominant diet. So really cutting out, you know, the ultra processed food, and really trying to get as many plants on your plate as possible. And then physical activity is going to look different for everybody, but it's just trying to get in that physical activity. And one component I really like to emphasize in that is maintaining muscle mass as we age, which I think is super critical to aging. And then there's restorative sleep, which I think we'll hit on a little bit later, but how important sleep really is. We're in a society where we tend to think, you know, oh, you can sleep when you're dead. But I mean, not sleeping is actually going to make you dead sooner. So it's super important. Insomnia is a really big concern and complaint for a lot of people. And then stress management is another one. I think we just keep learning more about how stress actually affects our body. And a lot of people tend to think, oh, you know, that's just in my mind. You're telling me that my physical problems are in my mind, but that's not true. It's actually the mind and the body are connected. And it's actually how that stress in your mind is actually causing disease in the body. And then there's avoidance of risky substances, which is, you know, pretty self-explanatory as far as tobacco and, you know, a lot of alcohol and drug use. And then the social connection piece, which I think is super important that we don't emphasize enough. And I kind of lump in there like social connection and purpose as well. But because I think you know, there's a lot of research that shows that just having that connection is enough to help you live longer and avoid dementia and different things like that. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's really a key piece of helping you reach your other healthy lifestyle goals.
Mm-hmm. And I like how you mentioned, you know, part of the connection piece, because I agree with this 110%. And I'm so excited that you said this. The connection is essential, but also having that purpose in life. And I think that really, those two pieces go together. You know, it's kind of that passion that, you know, you have this connection with people, and maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's, you know, people that you share common interests with. And I think that piece is really important, because they don't talk about that enough.
Yeah. And I think it's easy to get caught up in society and what society says is success. You know, it's we work long days, we make this money, we can buy this house, we can vacation. But when I help people and I help them work towards their goals, sometimes I end up asking, like, what is your version of success? because we buy into societies a lot. And really, every time I've asked that, people, it comes back to relationships. Almost everybody tells me it's about my relationships with my kids or, whatever. And I think that we get so busy that we tend to forget that component.
I think you're right. And it's that busy piece that is keeping us awake at night. So let's go and transition a little bit and talk a little bit more about sleep and why that is so important on a daily basis, not, I'll catch up on the weekend. Why is sleep so important and how is it affecting us in negative ways?
So I think sleep translates to a lot of different goals. I think one of the big ones that I see is people wanting to lose weight, and sleep is integral in that. If you're not sleeping, anybody who doesn't sleep a lot knows, or maybe they haven't tied the two together, but you tend to get more cravings for sweet and fatty foods. And studies have shown that if you're sleep deprived, you on average eat 300 to 400 calories more per day. And so if you do that, every day for a prolonged period of time, that's going to result in weight gain. And I also think it's important because as people are trying to lose weight and you just go and you focus on the nutrition piece without first asking how my sleep is, and then I see people come back and they're like, I just can't cut the sugar out. Like, I just want to, then you start to feel like, your self-efficacy decreases. You start to feel like a failure. You get down on your plan. When really you're trying to fight against your physiology of your body saying like, I'm sleep deprived, I need that sugar and fat to go, to keep going. So I think in that, and any sort of like weight maintenance, weight loss, sleep is super important. It's also really important for, any sort of like brain fog or even like attention problems or anything like that. It's really hard, obviously, for the brain to function when we're not getting sleep. It's essentially sleep is a time, right, when your body restores and repairs. So you can't expect your body to restore and repair when you're busy doing stuff all day and you're not giving it that time at sleep. So, that looks like doing, the cleaning of cells and all that stuff needs to do to prevent cancer and basically, giving your body a time of not eating so it can actually use the fat stores that you have. And it's so important, I think, for pretty much all disease processes and prevention of disease.
Yep. And you just mentioned, busy lives, we're busy, we're stressed.